So I'm on the BJJ Fanatics website, and I see 3 new videos by some guy named Thomas Radzinski. You familiar with that guy at all?
Nope, absolutely not.
No? Well, he's got some good stuff. Three brand new videos. They're getting amazing reviews, which is good to see as well. But you got to tell us about them real quick?
Yeah, I had, you guys already know, but I had opportunity to go to Boston, shoot 3 more instructionals, 1 on butterfly hook, complete guide for butterfly hook, 2 wrap, lapel, and submit them, and 3 we have taking the back. It's particularly designed for guys for over 40 because there's no climbing involved. All the back takes are on the ground. Very, very full and effective system. So dip into it. I'm really hoping that this is going to help your jiu-jitsu and really take it to the next level.
BJJfanatics.com. Just search ROZDZ. We have all had that situation where after class is when we want to ask a question. And Thomas, a lot of those questions you've already answered, right, at Ask a Black Belt.
Yeah, it's another podcast that I'm running. It's on podcast, all podcast platforms, plus on YouTube. You can find it anywhere. Just search for my name. Search for Ask a Black Belt. At this point, over 100 episodes, different questions, jiu-jitsu, life-related, but something that everybody comes across, and often these questions sink in our mind, but we don't ask for whatever reason. So if that benefits you, go there, listen. It actually might help your jiu-jitsu, might help your life as well. And if you have any questions, find me on Instagram and drop me a line. I'll be happy to answer your question and mention your name during the episode.
Welcome to Raw Radio.
And we are live again.
Go.
Oh, there you go. The first takeaway of the year.
Yep. Here it is.
Here it is. We are done. It's good to be back on air after all the festivities. Well, technically, we're recording this before New Year's, but it's good to continue the show, and it's good to start the show with a phenomenal guest.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it was a good time.
Yeah, Eddie Kone. If you're not familiar, look him up.
Familiarize yourself.
Yeah, you should. Great representation of jiu-jitsu in UK. But I felt that it would be a great conversation with Eddie, just from following him and what he represents for what jiu-jitsu is, or what his interpretation of jiu-jitsu. But more we talked to him, more the conversation went on, I really felt good as an easygoing person who is willing to share, and the humble the humble component of his personality was so visible. I mean, what a humble guy. Lord, no?
Yeah, it didn't seem to hit me the same way as you.
Of course not.
Not that he isn't.
Of course not.
Well, no, you obsess. You obsess on things.
I do.
Yeah, so you got that in your head, and then that's all you can think about. Where I obviously
you move on quickly, and
there was other stuff to talk about.
Yeah, of course. Of course, that explains a lot from our conflict.
He is a humble person, and I think he was talking about. I think maybe where it struck a chord for you was him talking about, the pioneers, what he considers the pioneers, the Gracie family, and his experiences with them, and that they were the influential ones, they were the important ones, and when we talk to people that have gone down there, older guys that have gone down there and spent time with the family and stuff, like when Helio was still alive, and then they leave and they go to the UK or California or wherever, Florida, it doesn't matter, and then they continue things on. They don't see themselves as important, and I think that they are, because I think when somebody like Eddie, who's Hoyler's first black belt in the UK, goes back and opens an academy and starts teaching, if those guys just stayed in Brazil or they went down there, they stayed there, or they just went there and learned jiu-jitsu. That's where they went on their vacation, and then they came back and worked in their factory, or as a doctor, or as a lawyer, or whatever. Jiu-jitsu would look incredibly different, right? But no, they went, they learned, they brought things back, they studied wherever they could. They became black belts and opened places, or even before they were black belts, they opened places. And I don't think that people like that get the credit. For me anyway, they get looked at like, oh, that's cool, they went down there and did that cool thing, I wish I could do that. Well, the focus maybe should be more on they went down there, brought it back, and spread it with everybody else, instead of looking at it from like how cool it could have been for you or how cool it was for them. Look at what they did afterwards with it and who they gave it to, and spread it throughout their communities. I think maybe that's where the focus should shift a little bit. I don't know. Right?
You don't know?
I don't know. That's the way I feel. So I do know. I know it for me. But my reality isn't everybody else's, so it doesn't matter.
I mean, that is true. Thank Lord that your reality is not everybody else's. But
it would be a much better place.
Would it now?
Yes. Much more easygoing.
I don't know.
There wouldn't be the conflicts.
Are you saying that you are easygoing?
I'm saying that I have a realization that in the grand scheme of things, a lot of this doesn't matter. So
that is true. I agree with you.
So don't get upset about it.
No.
Don't.
Why would we?
I had a wonderful conversation with somebody in between classes this morning, and I'm not going to say what it was about, but in these conversations, I start putting myself in other people's shoes, and some people would not be happy with this conversation. They would not, of the content of the conversation. Why? What's it matter to you? What, in the grand scheme of things, what does it matter? So let people do what they're going to do. They're not hurting anybody. They're not infringing on anybody. They're not setting people off on a bad path. So in the grand scheme of things.
In the grand scheme of things, all that matters is right now, right?
Yeah, but what does right now even matter?
Well,
right?
We
are not.
I mean,
about what we're supposed to be talking about,
if we take ignorant approach like that,
is it ignorant?
Well,
is it ignorant? It doesn't. What we're living in our own situations.
Mm-hmm.
We're doing things for our own reasons, and good, bad, or indifferent. And it matters to the individual. I think it matters to the individual and what they want to have come out of these things, and how and the decisions that they're making, and how they're living their lives. Because in the grand scheme of things, when it's all said and done, we don't know. And we don't know, if you fall off the face of the earth today, in 50 years, is it going to matter? In 100 years, it's going to matter less. In 1,000 years, it's not going to matter at all,
Right, but if everybody took that approach exactly, then we would never get anything done.
No, otherwise you would live in misery.
Absolutely.
Right.
So there has to be a happy medium, right? And we were supposed to talk about gatekeepers, and I'm kind of going to bridge that over to that, right? I mean, we all gatekeeper of something. We are gatekeepers of our family. We are gatekeepers of our philosophy. We are gatekeepers of what we believe in, and like in jiu-jitsu world, we are gatekeepers of some aspect of jiu-jitsu. If you are a blue belt, you are still gatekeeper, just in a very small scale, perhaps. A white belt looks up to you. You are a gatekeeper. You have a responsibility to present this in a certain way to them. Otherwise, their experience is going to be negative. If we are black belts, then we have a more visible, more prominent, more powerful gatekeeping responsibility, but we are still gatekeepers. Some blue belts or purple belts, lower belts or color belts help and teach with kids classes. They are gatekeepers. Their actions and their decisions impact other people as by default, as a definition. They are gatekeepers. They are responsible for this, right?
Yeah, but a gatekeeper is somebody who has access and controls who else gets the access to it.
Not necessarily.
Well, that's the definition.
Okay.
And I think that
Well-
so there's different ways you could look at it, and I think when we were talking to Eddie about it, we were talking about he's very, very big on the self-defense aspect of Gracie Jiu-Jitsu, and in the context of the conversation, we were talking about sport Jiu-Jitsu,
Mm-hmm.
right? And it came up: who is it still Jiu-Jitsu? And if it is or isn't, who gets to decide? That's the gatekeeper.
Right. Okay.
Right?
Fine. So, but look, you're teaching kids classes. You are a gatekeeper. You decide whether that child is getting impacted a specific way. You are a gatekeeper, just on a very small scale.
Mhm.
Right. So we all gatekeepers in some aspects. Some of them are we think they are very irrelevant because the impact is so minimal. But we are still a gatekeeper. We still have a responsibility to what we do and how we do it. And we decide whether that receiving person gets the information we present.
Right.
It's up to us, nobody else's. Like if you are, let's just say, blue belt, you have certain amount of information. Whether you believe in it or not, you think you're skilled or not, or you want to present it or not, you have a certain skill set. And you are a gatekeeper of that skill set. So if you don't talk to anybody or show anything or embrace jiu-jitsu in any fashion to anybody, you are closing those doors and keeping that to yourself. What I'm saying is that if we all only mind our own business and are unwilling to cooperate and exchange information, we will never grow as humans.
Sure, absolutely not. Absolutely not.
And I'm not saying that's a bad thing, because sometimes it feels like staying quiet is a better thing. Okay, but we are, as humans, we are very social creatures. We need human interaction, and part of this is playing these roles of gatekeeping and collaborating with others. Or am I thinking about this completely?
No, I think you're onto something, and I think that unfortunately, gatekeeping is kind of in recent times, kind of taken on a negative aspect with that person who controls access, because it's that person thinks they know it all. So, like if you look at Cambridge Dictionary, the slang definition is the activity of trying to control who gets particular resources, power, or opportunities, and who does not. Right? So there's a big distinction. It's not this is what I know and this is what I can offer and this is what I can show you. It's also they don't deserve it.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And I think that so that's maybe I was looking coming into this conversation, that's how I was looking at it.
Well, and if you look, I mean, if you look at that part of it, that's visible still in jiu-jitsu.
Yeah.
Right?
Absolutely.
Like you train here, you can't go and train with somebody else because
right.
The heavens will break and all that other stuff, and you're gonna be creoned and all the like
all that,
all that,
or
right?
That's not jujitsu. What they're doing over there is not jujitsu.
Right.
Right. So you have those guys too. Why would you go over there and learn that? That's my jujitsu is jujitsu. So what they're doing isn't.
So I guess the big question is not whether we give a limit, but the responsibility, the weight of the responsibility that we all have to make these decisions.
Right.
Because who am I to decide whether you can or cannot go somewhere?
Right. Yeah. Right.
I'm nobody in all of this.
Yeah.
Like if
you
you
said earlier.
you always keep it real. But like I'm nobody. Like just my hope is that we make a small impact, a dent in this big picture of jiu-jitsu, just providing people with opportunities. And if so it happens, they love what we do, then yeah, let it be. And if so it happens, we change their lives. Amazing. This is where we're giving them, well, we're making impact.
Right.
Right?
Yeah.
One person at a time.
Yeah, I think so. And I think that is kind of Eddie's approach is go out there and see everything else. Go train someplace else. But this is what I do. And it's here for you if you want it, and take advantage of it.
First, explain to me, why would you limit somebody?
People do it for all sorts of different reasons, and I think in this particular case, not that Eddie would do this, but like if he wasn't who he was, it's the controlling. In that definition I read, a person who controls access, they are controlling it.
But why is that so important
because
to
that's
us?
what it means to them. This is what jiu-jitsu is, and if you're going to go someplace else, well, you're not learning jiu-jitsu. That's not.
But isn't that hurting the bigger picture?
Yeah, probably, for sure.
So why would aren't we here to grow? See, this is
not everybody's that enlightened. Some people are here not to grow.
So you honestly think that there are people in charge who don't want the community to grow?
Yeah.
Why?
Why do I think that, or why?
No, why they don't want it to grow? I mean, the growth is part of the success.
Because of their egos. Because they want to be successful.
But how are you going to be successful if you don't grow?
I think we're looking at success two different ways.
Okay.
Their success is winning the most matches. Their success is making everybody else look inferior. That's their success.
I see. So they want to be on the top of the pyramid, right, essentially.
You're right. And even like people who own academies, if their academy grows, it's great. But if an academy opens up 2 miles down the road, well, now that's competition.
But even at that point, this is what I have a hard time processing. If you want your academy to grow, why would you limit your students from seeing what else is out there?
Because they might leave. That other thing might be.
But they are going to leave if you stop them.
Well, now, are they? Or will they just keep going to you? Because here's the thing, I don't think people say, well, go out there and see what's out there. You're not going to find anything better than this, but go. They say if you go, you can't come back. And they say
so it's a threat.
Yeah, it's a threat. Or they make you think ultimatums, threats, and they make you think that what they have is better than what is out there. I'm smarter. My techniques are better. You'll never learn anything better than what you have here. That other stuff is nonsense.
So I get all this.
Okay.
But at some point, that student will see somebody else. Like they will see other instructors.
Yeah.
And you honestly think they will not process this as, I've been getting ripped off?
How many McDojos are there out there? How many cults are there? Will they eventually? Hopefully they will. But there will be a period of time where a large enough group of people won't. And that person who is that gatekeeper will feel that they're successful.
I probably sound like a complete idiot to this whole episode here, but this whole takeaway. But like, I really have a hard time comprehending that. Like, I don't understand why people would.
You started jiu-jitsu when it was at that point, where if you went someplace else.
But that was 20 plus years ago.
But there's still people like that.
That's what I don't understand.
Yeah.
When are we evolving as humans?
A lot of people think we're devolving. But,
well, depending where you look at it, I might agree on some of those topics.
Right. And so I think old school definition of gatekeeper is somebody who has access to something, and they can show it to you. They can invite you in.
Yeah.
They can invite you in.
Yeah, I get it.
The new school is more of dismissiveness of other stuff. Like the slang version is, I see it a lot like in music. That's not real heavy metal. I know I'm old and I still listen to heavy metal, but it's like, that's not this. That's not this. That is something else. So Eddie has a very old school mentality about jiu-jitsu and self-defense in jiu-jitsu. What he sees in other aspects of jiu-jitsu, he says that's not this, but he's not denying that other thing, that it's valid, that it's good, that it has a purpose, that it's entertaining, that it's for someone, and it's valid. Where there's other people still who do that. That other is bad. Anytime it's other, it's bad because my ego is so fragile that what I have is the only good thing out there. I'm sorry to disappoint you.
No, I guess my definition, and maybe I'm just naive, maybe, I don't know. But like in my mind, when we called ourselves a gatekeeper, is not that we keep information in, but is that we have a responsibility to share that information.
Right. Yeah.
And this is why I have a hard time
Mm-hmm.
processing.
Yeah.
And there's plenty of them out there. The instructors who will literally not teach you things because they want to hold it back from you, versus I feel like there is so much of it that we should be sharing it everywhere all the time. And granted, this is where we become successful, all of us together. This jiu-jitsu art, sport, this activity, fun, however you want to, whatever role this plays in your life, it becomes more. It becomes better. So why can't we just freaking get along? I don't. Merry Christmas to everybody out there.
Hopefully, anybody my age hopefully got that reference. All right. Well, it's because hopefully we're a little bit more enlightened in this particular situation.
I suppose this was a cranky Thomas right there. So
You got really upset.
I have a hard time with this.
All right. Well,
let's all get along. Group hug.
All right. That's it. Leave it right there. Group hug.
Later.
See ya.
Thank you for listening to Raw Radio. If you enjoyed the show, don't forget to leave us a review and help us make the show even more amazing. For future episodes, check out our website and follow us on all major podcast platforms. Take care.